Hello guys, and welcome again to another episode of the 48 Days to Power series. Hope you guys are enjoying this. We have another one today. Today we have law number 19. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. Self-explanatory, right? But we're going to go through a couple of key points, help you guys how to use this law, keep you all pushing forward. Number one, in the self-improvement space. I'm obviously having my notes this time again, unlike yesterday, I kind of winged it. These are kind of more of straight to the point, and then obviously we're going to explain to them. Practice emotional intelligence. Learn to read body language, tone, and reactions. People often show you how they feel before they say it. Emotional intelligence is super important. You can find many of books that are self-explanatory about emotional intelligence. Me, over time, I just learned through other people, pastors, and friends about emotional intelligence. Like, if you're sensing the room, you don't want to be in a funeral and then you're the person that's laughing. That's not emotional intelligence. You have to read the room and know how to react based on certain situations. If you're in a room and you're talking to a couple of friends, everyone's having a good time, emotional intelligence is going into that conversation, encouraging conversation, being an active listener, and motivating others within that conversation. If they're talking about a new board game that came out, be there and talk about board games that you've liked and you would recommend if they like other board games similar to that. Don't be the person sitting around doing nothing when the party is all going and stuff. You don't want to be that person. You sense the environment, you set yourself up for that environment, and you do what's pertained to that environment too. School's presentations, everybody's quiet. You stay quiet unless you're the one presenting. Test, stay quiet. It's self-explanatory. Think before you speak. Ask yourself, will this help or hurt somebody before saying something bold or sarcastic? Think before you speak reminds me of a Bible verse in the Bible where it talks about how the mouth breathes both life and death. And the second Bible verse that talks about being quick to listen but slow to speak. Think before you speak is a habit that is set up over time yourself. You don't want to be the person in the room that's blabbering all the time for hours and hours and hours and hours nonstop. But you also don't want to be the person that's quiet all the time with nothing to talk about. You want to be a good middle. And like I told you guys yesterday, when it comes to talking, is you want to talk and leave room of silence for like a good 10 seconds, 15 seconds before you continue. Think before you speak as more as of like avoiding of saying the wrong things to people when they're of value. This could be a manager, a CEO, or a corporation manager, because there's managers and then there's corporation managers. And for an example, I don't want to be sarcastic with a corporation manager because of the fact that I'm having a good time and I'm working. The corporation manager wants to make sure that you're doing your job how you're supposed to be doing it. So you want to read the room and think before you speak. Number 3, don't take everything personally. Just as you want others to be careful with you, extend grace to others. Not everyone means harm, and not every correction is hate. I can tell you about a personal example of mine where integrity isn't the main thing of my personality, to be quite honest. I've always been the person that's quick to do things, and I think that's just corporation in general work. If you do a lot of corporation work, so I used to work for McDonald's, I used to work for Monroe Muffler, all these jobs are quick. You have to be quick and timely. But the things with slower jobs, like your mechanic jobs that are small moms and pop shops, or small moms and pop shops of a bar, that pace isn't going to be there. But when you be there, it has to be of integrity. And when you're getting critiqued, don't take it personally. Take it as something that is something to improve you. Now, you have to know the difference between people critiquing you for the bad things and critiquing you for the good thing. Because you will have people in your room that are saying, oh, why don't you smoke? You should smoke with us. That's a bad critique, But you have good critiques. The ones that tell you, well, slow down, take your time, make sure you're doing this properly, and make sure you're taking the step-by-step processes. And if you're done, they say, good job, cool. but take your time. This is really, really good advice. So you want to make sure that that advice is good, but you're also not taking it personally and being too emotional about it. When it comes to critique, you have to set your emotions aside from the critique itself and really see it as room to improve versus they're trying to downplay me, if that makes any sense. All right, so how can we use this at school? Respect your teacher's authority. So it's respecting authority. Even if a teacher seems unfair, confront them with anger can backfire. Approach them with calm words and humility. This is with watching with what you speak. So if a teacher feels like you feel like a teacher isn't teaching you well, or if you feel like a teacher is not giving you the value that you need to succeed in school, then talk to them. But don't do it with an expression of cockiness and entitlement. You want to be calm about it and collective about it. Another way you can do it too is by emailing them. I remember emailing teachers when I was going through tough times in life, and they were more than understanding. And you can do that. I used to, and I think you have to be respectful of times too. So don't message them late, but don't message them hella early. But you want to message them around like 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, and be respectful, be presentable. I remember one time, and this goes to respecting older people, is emails. I saw a TikTok on this, and it was this is how my employees replied to me through email. Hey, sub dog, I just wanted to let you know I won't be in today. See you later, bro, at whatever. And then another one was like a girl saying like, hey, I'm gonna have to go get my makeup and nails done, this and that. Hope you have a great afternoon. Peace out, dog, or peace out, homie, or whatever it was. And I was really, really surprised. In job opportunities, you always want to talk properly and professionally, because you have to keep in mind these people are going to be setting up the example for you when you're not around through other employers or other colleges. So you always want to make sure that you're punctual and professional with these people, especially if they're higher up than you. Number 2, watch how you joke with classmates. Some students laugh with you but feel disrespected. Know who you're talking to before roasting or teasing them. I think generally the Bible talks about not joking, and I falter in this a lot because I like making people feel good. I like making people feel comfortable. But I think knowing your time and place to say those things are super important. You don't want to be roasting or teasing people that you first meet. Or even you want to roast and tease people that you haven't broken the ice with. The ice breaks. It takes a couple of days. You don't break the ice in one day. I really, truly don't believe that, because people have guards, and guards take time to break down. But you break up these guards quickly by watching with what you speak. And then not only that, implement small jokes here and there. Don't be the person that's joking all the time, because people won't take you seriously. But also don't be the person that's too serious all the time, because people won't want to joke around with you or try to open themselves up with you, because you're too strict. So why would they? Number 3, choose your battles wisely. If you always argue or correct people, you may get labeled as difficult. Sometimes silence is a stronger move. Yes, so like if you have, this is talking about somebody that is very kept to themselves, very, not isolated, but very kept to themselves, very professional people. You want to make sure that there is that same reciprocation back and forth. Professionalism. If there's little joking here and there, then you can joke a little bit here and there, but make sure you're not hurting their ego or hurting their attitude. You can do this with people who are serious in your life, managers, higher ups, and match that energy again. Professionalism, and if they're joking, they're joking. But if they ask you for help them. You just want to be a person that's there and being supportive. And silence is perfect too, You don't always have to talk to these higher up people. Because again, the mysteriousness about you, as far as school, for an example, the teacher is going to look at you and get a little bit curious. This goes for workplace too. Manager might look at you. You're a little bit quiet, and they might see it as, it's interesting who this person is, and I'm interested in what more they have to provide and what more they have to learn. And that was kind of my train of thought as far as that one. Last but not least is at work. Study your higher ups' personality. Some bosses value honesty, others value loyalty. Learn what matters to them and approach them accordingly. You want to study these people personalities, but excuse me for a second, sorry for the loud beep. You want to study these people's personalities because they're going to be the ones that are going to give you raises and advancements and opportunities, versus that being a mechanic, that being an artist, that being a musician. You always want to make sure you study them. What do they value? What do they not value? What do they encourage? What do they beat down a lot? As a good example of this, I can tell you, I'm not going to give off names of certain managers, but some valued most definitely loyalty, showing up on time, being committed, being working with integrity, and that some others appreciated more the friendship aspect of management. So talk to me, tell me how's your day went, what you're struggling with. So you really have to read the room and know who you're speaking to as far as management. And you can do this slowly with anybody, not only at work, but your teachers. Pay attention to how they teach. Pay attention to how they interact. Managers, pay attention to how they work. Fast pace, slow pace. How do they talk to their employees? Are they rude? Are they hasting? Are they rushing them, How do they interact with customers? Are they patient? Are they a little bit angry? Just pay attention to their personalities. And this takes time, obviously. But if you study these, that'll be a lot easier for you to get ahead. Avoid gossip and complaints. The cool workers might be tight with the manager. Talking recklessly can cost you promotions or trust. Avoid the gossip, avoid the complaints. Self-explanatory. If you need to talk about somebody, talk to them face on first. That's the most important thing. And you can say this within a calm nature, and you can say this in a positive nature that's motivational, so that they can continue succeeding. And then number 3 is always seek peace. Don't be a problem starter. And it goes to the drama thing. If people know you as a respected and calm person, you'll get more opportunities and less drama. If you're in a workspace and you always try to calm down a situation for what it is, even if it comes off neutral, if you diffuse a situation for being neutral, well, how you diffuse a situation to make it become neutral? Hey, I realize that you did this essay wrong. There's a couple things here and you keep on making these wrong. Can you tell me what's going on? They might say in a very aggressive tone. Well, to neutralize it, you would be honest. You neutralize it with honesty. If I slipped and broke my leg and I couldn't start on the essay, I would say I slipped, I broke my leg, and I was starting it, but didn't quite finish it, so I made a little mistakes, and then you apologize. I am the type of person that does not like using the word I'm sorry, because it comes off with guilt and it comes off with shame. I just like using the word I apologize. It's a little bit more of a professional way of saying it. And I got this tip from somebody that used to work at a dietarian. Don't say I'm sorry, just say I apologize. Because the I'm sorry comes off like you're looking for sympathy. The I apologize comes off more professional and that you're looking on fixing it. So that was a banger right there. And you want to stay calm and be respectful to everybody around you. You don't want to be the person that is triggering others, stirring up chaos, because they're not going to want to give raises to people that stir up chaos. And here's my final 3 keys that I'm going to give you guys. People are not the same. Treat them accordingly. Like we were saying, there's spaces in the hierarchy in society today where certain people are more valuable than other people. Like if I know this person owns the property and owns the business, I'm going to treat them a lot more respectfully than the janitor. Now, let me clarify this, that the Bible does state that you should treat everybody respectfully, no matter if they are the owner of the business or the janitor. But let me clarify this. I wanted to clarify that. But in society today, globally, it's about treating people not the same. You might have a little bit of more wiggle room towards the janitor. Again, we're talking about law and we're not talking about Bible. I already brought that up. But with the janitor, you might get away with a little bit of getting angry at them or getting upset at them and stuff like that. But with the higher up, with the guy that owns the company, you may not be able to get away with that. And they can alternate between different personality traits and different situations between both of those people. So you really have to know that all people are not the same. Respect is your protection. Use it wisely. Respect people no matter what. When things hit the fan, be the person that's there to help them, because you know that you're scrubbing their back due to the mistakes that you were committing. Really, really cool trick. And then number 3 is mastering how you deal with others gives you quiet power. When you master people and you pay attention to people, it gives you power no matter where you're at. Relationships, friendships, and business and working. You want to master how people want to be treated. And that's what this law talks about. You master relationships by being the person that is actively listening, being the person that pay attention to their actions, and you master people by taking them out, listening to their vulnerable side, paying attention to their strengths and encouraging them. And this takes time again, but the more you notice these things and the more you pay attention, you take notes on this, I think it's easier to manipulate people, to not only get what you want, but to show respect to them too. That was Law 19. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. You don't want to offend the wrong person because it can set you back ages, generations. If you offend the wrong person, it can delay opportunities too. If you want to get to somewhere a lot quicker, learn about these laws and you will. And like I was mentioning back a couple of videos ago, is that 50 Cent, and it was the first law actually, so it was a couple of months ago, 50 Cent used this law to get ahead in the music industry back in the early 2000s. And this book helped him out a lot. And I can tell you right now, if you use this book, you will get ahead, more ahead than most people. But I do want to end it with this, that it's not about it is about leveling up in life, but I think it's doing it genuinely in the right way. And I do want to clarify that this book does have key points of manipulation that you can use to get ahead in this industry, or business, or real estate, or working. You have so many of choices to use this law. You can use this anywhere, what I've realized so far. But the only book that can give you true advice into succeeding in this life is the Bible. The Bible does this by giving you really solid advice in Proverbs, Ecclesiastes. You would even be surprised in Acts, Psalms. This book is a really, really good book. I'd highly suggest you guys to read the Word of God in Proverbs. You have the ESV, which I would highly suggest if you're new to the Bible. The wisdom in the Bible is going to rule over anything. And I think the wisdom of the Bible will definitely overrule this book by millions of times. Because if you realize in the Word of God, it also talks about watching with what you speak and being a good listener too. So that's a good piece of advice that the Bible gives. And the Bible also talks about not living in debt. The Bible also speaks about gaining friendships and remaining loyal to those friendships, and how to live a well life overall on earth and succeeding. That's going to be it for today's video. I just wanted to put that into this video, but I love you guys so, so, so much. And that was another episode of the 48 Days to Power. I love you guys so much. And remember, God loves you too. All the time, and all the time He loves you. See ya.